What up, though? My Nomads, we here with another one. I got two guests with me, Dar'Ron Harmon and Cardell Greene.
What's going on? What's going on?
What up, what up?
It's good, y'all. So, we here today to talk about, well, Dar'Ron had a good hot take. He called me the other day and tell him what you asked me, man.
Yo, I had a serious question. The Loki television show, my personal opinion when it first came out, I wasn't looking forward to it. I was like, why is he getting a show?
Same.
But now that we have seen the start to the conclusion, is this the greatest show?
Full disclosure,
Ever.
Everybody's seen the final episode here, so spoiler alert. But yeah.
Kang is the man. Is this going to change everything and is the most impactful event in the MCU? TV or film, period. Go.
I don't know if it's the most impactful in the MCU period.
Okay.
But definitely the most impactful from the MCU TV shows.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the implications we're going to have, because this is going to roll right into Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Madness likely will have links to Spider-Man as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is going to have a lot more implications than anything else from MCU has had. Because previous MCU shows, when you're talking about things like Luke Cage, you're talking about shows like
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Cloak and Dagger.
That don't really tie into the greater Marvel universe at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where this was going to have implications on probably every film we're going to see in the next phase or two.
That's what I mean by it's going to have so many different, it just involves everything, right? So you can explain Ben Affleck Daredevil, which is atrocious, but you can actually talk about him.
Talk about that.
The Netflix series, everything kind of ties into now. You can literally say the X-Men. You can explain that, hey, different timeline. If someone pops in right now, hell, it's okay. On why in WandaVision we all thought that was Quicksilver, but it wasn't Quicksilver. It's a different variant. That's why I think that this is the most impactful one, because it's going to change the game.
He was a variant. Now we know.
Because everyone thought that Wanda was going to change the game. Yeah.
Of what's his name, Quicksilver.
Yeah, we thought that Wanda's going to change the game. Everybody was hyped when we had to be yo, she's about to wreck everything. It's going down. No one thought that the Loki series was going to do this.
Yeah, I
know a lot of friends. No one knew that.
I thought Loki was just going to be fan service for everybody who wanted Loki to come back from that. Remember what happened when he died in Endgame?
That's what I initially thought.
I thought it was just going to be fan service. Him just doing hey, I'm going to jump to this time and do a little mission here. I thought it was going to be a procedural, cop show or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Turns out this show has implications for the whole universe moving on.
So you, with your background in video photography and also storytelling, how do you see this going? What's the next thing? You have a Spider-Man movie, you have Doctor Strange movie. We have a lot of things that are coming up. Ant-Man. Where is King going to show up first?
I was hoping there was going to be a post-credit scene where you just see his footsteps walking up and you see his face. But I was happy with what we got. But sky's the limit, because this dude, he said it. There's so many variants of himself that are just evil. And then, I thought it was a perfect setup when he was look, you think I'm bad? Wait till you see the variants of me. It's dang. Ooh, we're talking about a dude who literally has the universe in his hand and a Palm Pilot thing. And he's telling you he's not that bad. The other guys are.
Yeah.
It's about to be on.
It makes you think, how did he conquer all this? Is it too smart, clever? It's so many questions. But I have a question for you. Can Ant-Man deal with this? Can he deal with this?
Scott Lang.
Well, before we get to Ant-Man, there's a chance that we could see him pop up again in Loki season 2, depending on when that comes out.
You think it's gonna pop before the movies?
It could possibly. It could come out early. It could come out late 2022, early 2023 before Quantumania comes out.
So I know that I heard the rumors that it's supposed to be one season, but due to COVID, it got split to 2 seasons. It was originally supposed to be 12 episodes, and the finale was not what the finale is supposed to be. That's the break, and it had to be like that.
That makes sense. Because we were all 6 episodes. That's all we get. That's kind of weird.
You hear everything on the internet. You don't know what's facts, what's not, because you're not in the actual office. But that was supposedly it.
We do know Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Yeah, we do know Falcon and Winter Soldier was definitely affected by the pandemic. Yeah. They cut a whole storyline out of a pandemic that was supposed to be in the show. That's why it
Based
kind of
on
feels.
a virus.
Yeah, that's why it kind of feels disheveled and everything. But I think what did you say just now about King?
Like Kang, like where's he gonna pop up? Because like for instance, like we all see the trailer for Spider-Man should drop any moment. Like it should be coming. I hope it comes. But like when that comes out, we're gonna see like we play it like 4 or 5 times to see like every particle, everything about the nucleus. We want to know everything was going on. So when do y'all think King is gonna pop up? And if he does pop up, is it gonna be where like an Easter egg thing in the background where like you see him, but you don't really know it's him? Or is it going to be, I heard one person talk about him being a fellow almost helper. People think that he's actually a nice person, then he switches off. Like,
Well, he did say there are nice versions of him.
So what do you think is going to happen next? In your opinion?
Well, he's definitely going to pop up in Quantumania. He's already confirmed for that.
Yeah, true.
I think there may be references to him, like little Easter eggs we would get post-credit scenes for
Doctor Strange?
Thanos. When we used to get...
Oh, Eternal?
Well, I mean, as far as how we used to get
how we used to
Easter
get
eggs
Thanos, yeah, like little nuggets on
we
each
might get
movie.
little nuggets like that, building up to Secret Wars or something like that down the line.
Did y'all see that the director, Kay Herron, just said today that we didn't see Kang? What we saw was Immortus. Well, an amalgamation of Immortus.
He had the costume of Immortus.
Yeah.
Where he was like more of the because in the comics, Immortus, he conquers the timeline. He becomes like the keeper and everything like that. And she said the fact that they called him He Who Remains, who's a different comic character, he's not really Immortus straight from the comics, but he's like an amalgamation of those characters put together. So she said we haven't even witnessed Kang.
They never said the name Kang.
They do that a little bit because Sylvie is kind of a amalgamation of
Enchantress
and Lady Luck.
Yeah.
So they
She when it comes down to complete the mission, don't matter. She complete the mission. I don't care what's going on.
She was I mean, I thought it was funny the whole episode. That whole episode, her whole lines was, "I don't believe you."
Yeah, it's a wrap.
I don't believe you.
Like I see blood. That's all I
You
see.
just see her blood boiling. Like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Like over and over again. And I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna kill him.
Yeah, so we said it like so. He Who Remains. They never mentioned the name. They never said Kang. They said other names, Conqueror, like stuff like that. So do you think that where Loki was sent back to was the timeline of Kang, the Conqueror? Because these statues were completely changed. It's just being solo him.
Before Sylvie, spoiler alert, before Sylvie kills He Who Remains, on that for now. The timeline was already branching.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So he
We
could
don't know
be
which timeline
he
it
could
was.
literally be in one of any infinite number of universes where Kang the Conqueror is now having the TVA and probably in the middle of a multiversal war.
Okay, so let me ask you guys another question real quick. And this is the three of us, our minds are it's a beautiful masterpiece, but it's like each of us have our own section. The Netflix series, the older television series, far as old movies, old Fantastic Four, does this breathe new life into everything as far as the archives? Does it make you like the Blade? Like, people need to put some respect on Blade. He started this whole madness.
Respect on his name, man.
Do you now look at all of them and be like, every character could possibly pop up at any given time, and it makes you like you feel warm, like, yo, this is legit.
So I won't say every character because
Okay.
some of these characters
We're trash.
you know which, I wasn't gonna say it. Some of these characters we don't need to see again.
Okay,
Or at least don't need to see the previous versions that we saw.
got you.
But there are some. The most recent Daredevil,
Charlie Cox,
Punisher.
John Barenthal,
I
Okay,
would love to see Kingpin back.
which one?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay,
I felt like his was.
they both did good. They both did good, but I got you. I'm with you though. Go ahead, I'm with you.
Both who? Which Kingpin?
There's only two of them. There's the black and there's a white one. Which one you want?
Michael Clark Duncan. He's rest in peace. He's dead. He can't come
That
back.
is so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. My apologies.
And in all honesty, I wasn't that impressed with his.
Me
Okay.
neither.
Okay.
I mean, the writing was very bad.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just him.
All 90s writing was hideous. Like, think
First of all,
about
that
it.
was early 2000s. It wasn't 90. It was 2003. It came out in 2003. Don't ask me why I know.
Name one Fantastic Four movie you actually enjoyed.
Let's move on. But
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But I mean, the one they did with Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like his story was compelling. I felt like the way that they developed his character and kind of showed his other sides, and his love interest and everything, I felt like was dope.
Okay.
So I would love to see him back if they can. I mean, because they can honestly put him in with Spider-Man.
yeah, they can.
How would they do that?
Universe has already branched. These characters are already local to New York.
Mm-hmm.
They basically did that in the comics. He branched off, took a lot of Spider-Man's villains.
He did.
Kingpin.
Yep,
Yeah.
he did.
So,
Spider-Man needs a lawyer since his identity has been outed.
Is that like
the
gonna be?
Barons should clear that up, though.
They may.
I think they just solved his problem.
They might.
I mean, we all know that branching solved Wanda's problem. She hurt her kids.
And Kingpin can
Apparently,
also,
that was confirmed today.
Kingpin can help informing these Sinister Six to help these people who now know Spider-Man's identity get back in.
Yep.
So there's easy way to tie him in. You could tie in Punisher with Thunderbolts or something.
I saw that there was a rumor that John Barenthal's Punisher is going to lead a team in the MCU.
Okay, so in the comic book world, there's the Thunderbolts that you have, which is one of the most badass teams ever. Is when you have Punisher, Red Hulk, and Deadpool. That team was that was fire. So yeah, Agent Venom as well. Venom all day.
Who would it be
So it's a bunch of them.
MCU?
In this MCU right now,
Right now, we don't have a Red Hulk.
I think they
It's
should
possible.
bring a Red Hulk.
you know what?
We have Abomination, who is also going
We
to
have She-Hulk, too.
I think a lot of those answers are going to be solved after the Hawkeye TV
We
series.
keep forgetting about the Secret Wars TV series. that's
Yeah,
coming out.
like those. I think that TV series is going to change something because if those have not watched Black Widow, watch Black Widow. There's an end scene to Black Widow. I mean, after credit, and that it's almost like the Nick Fury type vibe. I'm putting the band back together, and this is what we're going to do. It started from the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's going to continue on. The whole squad is going to be, it's going to be a mix because Marvel now and MCU they're switching some of the DNA makeup of some of the comic book history.
Because wasn't Yelena a villain?
Yeah, but there's multiple versions of it. Like there's one that she was working with Nick Fury. There's one that she was more
I feel like
of
that
that.
whole roster in Black Widow, they were kind of more villainous in the comics.
Yeah,
But
it's
they
like,
were all like anti-heroes.
got you.
But
So
in the movie, they're all
the moving forward with it, you have so many opportunities, and they're changing like the DNA of the actual characters that it fits more with the time of day that we are now. So you're gonna have more diversity, different like that. And on top of that, they're looking through storylines. Like for instance, He Who Remains in the comics, he was just an old original TVA agent, and now that the way they spin that whole cycle and how it is now, I like it. I like it a lot more than the actual comic verse. So having fresh minds and having the ability to put this stuff on film is going to change and bring like basically fresh air. And I think a lot of the Thunderbolts roster is going to be a little altered for the future coming. So I think Hawkeye TV series is going to change a lot of things.
Kind of going a little off topic, but I'm just curious who you guys think would make up a Thunderbolts roster with the current MCU we got. So you've got U.S. Agent,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
You could still do Deadpool because they're going to cross him over as well.
They already brought him in
Yeah.
with
Okay.
that commercial.
Punisher.
Okay.
Punisher. Elektra. Wait, is she still alive?
I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. It can be anybody. It doesn't matter.
True.
It's brand.
True, like it don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
She still could be a variant.
Yeah.
Elektra from the show.
All right. Who else you got?
Well, you mentioned Red Hulk. Still not sure if they're going to do him or not. But
So we got Abomination.
They should do him in
Abomination.
We have Abomination.
They
Got
should do
him.
him in the She-Hulk show. Introduce him.
So we got the heavy hitter Abomination. We got Punisher. I don't know if they're going to downgrade Deadpool to put him in a team right now. I feel like Deadpool has kind of been staying on his own as far as the film world. I don't know if they want to introduce and pop him in that team.
There's a theory.
I think we down the road maybe, but not first to bring him in NCU.
There's a theory that he's going to be the new Stan Lee cameo in all the movies.
That'd be hilarious.
That would
That'd
be
be.
That would be perfect. It's a theory. I don't know if it's true.
What about how do y'all?
Be mad with that.
Yeah, I think so many characters. I think some of these more characters that we don't know about. Like I think the X-Men and someone from the X-Men squad, like a Sabretooth. I think someone like that is going to pop in on one of these teams and open the door for that. Because you're going to like, where did he come from? Who is he? What's his abilities? Because there's already some complaining right now, not complaining, but they're saying that, did we see our first mutant and Black Widow?
We did. Apparently it was, well, the actor confirmed it, not Marvel itself.
So people are saying there's already mutants. So like, what is going on? What's going to happen next? So it's like, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I am excited. I'm excited, man. Big time. So let me ask you both a question. Y'all love TV, man. Y'all love storytelling. You love film. You love music. Both of y'all love it all. How do y'all feel about the state of a TV series versus the actual movie? Which one would y'all prefer? Like, if I gave you a character, Cyclops, would you rather have him in an X-Men film, or would you rather have him in a TV series that they're putting out now?
Me personally, TV all day.
Okay.
I like the way the state of TV now. Before we used to get those what I call network TV shows where it's like 20 episodes per season, and the season's broken up in half over the year, and then they shoot it, write it, edit it all at the same time, which is why storylines and characters get all mixed mash. But now we have these TV shows where they're planned out a year in advance. They have a writing room, they write the scripts, and then the next year they cast it, they shoot it, and then they edit it. And so they do it like a movie. Okay. So the stories are great. They're like 8 to 10 episodes per season. You can see like how they definitely put a little bit of money into it. So I like the way TV is now, and you could really flesh out characters better this way, because Wanda had like 11 minutes of screen time throughout all the movies, and then you get her in the TV show and you're like, oh snap, like she is tragic. Like you line up all her stuff together, you're like, oh, she did have a tragic story. So you get to flesh out these characters and you get to learn them. I just think it's better story wise, especially when you're doing like comic book stuff where the lore is so rich and you have so much to go back on. TV is where it's at for me. And me personally, I know I'm nobody right now, but like if somebody came to me today and was like, yo, we want you to do a Marvel movie. Yep. Who do you want to touch? Me as a challenge, I wouldn't want to do a popular character. Okay. I would actually want to do a character like Cyclops. Okay. Like a John Wick type of movie where he's just a martial arts guy who his gun is his eyes. So like I think that would be awesome. I'd like to do an obscure character like that, and we could take these great TV shows and bring these obscure characters and make them great. Okay. Like Wanda and Vision. Got you. How you feel?
So historically, I've always more so leaned to the movie style. Always leaned historically to the movie style. But as he kind of mentioned, in later years, TV has had the ability to get a better production, better writing. Get the ability to eliminate commercials and some of the overhead things you get with network TV. Yes. You can't cuss, show blood, things like that, and kind of expand on the story, get more a more mature story. Okay. So that in recent years has made it a lot better to do stuff on TV, where you can, like I said, kind of really expound on the character's backstory and paint the picture for the viewers, and really give it a chance so that we can dive into them. Because as you mentioned before, with Wanda, I was never really a big fan of her. I wasn't anticipating even watching the show.
Yes. It's like one of those things where it was on TV, okay, I'll watch it because there's no comic stuff right now.
Yeah, you watch it because it's a Marvel thing, and then everything's connected.
And then how it started, I'm like, yo, I'm not watching this, man. Like, yo, this is just going.
To the first episode, I'm like...
We talked about this. We're like, bro, like, am I just like, I'm not watching this over again. Like, this is not what I expected. But it's definitely had its, they knew what they were doing.
I was about to stop after 3, and then 4 just gave me what I wanted. Right? I was like, but I'm in there.
But look at the flip side. Now think about if they were to do that in a regular TV show that's usually like half an hour that you see on TV with commercials. Yeah. How much of that would get cut out to the point where it would be just confusing? Yes. It was already confusing. Confused to the point where you don't even understand what's going on.
You're like, yeah, I'll wait. I'm just done watching this. I can't do it. And you're absolutely right. Like, I think having their own platform to put their own stuff out without the the need for commercial. That's huge. I didn't think about it till like, yeah, you just said it.
And
It's
even
huge.
now, if you put out a movie, but you don't do the proper groundwork to kind of set the stage for the characters,
Yeah.
you can do something that doesn't really have a draw.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't given people a reason to really go see it.
Yeah.
Warner
or be
Brothers.
invested,
We can.
or be invested in the characters at all.
I went to church today, so I'm gonna leave that like it is. Don't mention Warner Brothers right here in DC
But
Comics.
you're making a good point.
Ah, you about to make me go ham. Okay, so
Unless you're going to do something like Snyder Cut, where you're really going to get the director the chance to take the time he needs to really build the profiles of the people that are involved in the movie, so that you can actually be invested in it and care about it by the time you get to the end.
I am a little different, and I'm like split. I grew up on comic books, right? And almost like every film, we talk about Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was on pace to being the greatest TV show of all time, and then it just poof. And I think it went like that because of the main focus was there was no reference, there was no book, there was a conversation with the author. I got it, but the actual book, to go back and reread something, and then you read it, I read it, and we all get different interpretations of it, and then we make something a fine art. When it comes to comic books, there are so many different series, there's so many different ways of doing different things, that these TV shows have meetings that they can look at this. You like He Who Remains? You like Conqueror? Okay, let's bring this together. Let's do all this. I think that is a beautiful thing about television, because you can be more intimate with the characters and develop them and makes you want to come back and watch it again. A movie, I personally think movies should now be more of a team up thing, almost like the Avengers, stuff like that. Because like, if you were to tell me right now an X-Men movie was coming out, unfortunately you cannot erase the past. The past movies have made me a little bitter towards, or excitement towards, a future X-Men movie. If you told me an X-Men TV series coming out and I get to watch like how they became them, and then you told me a movie's following that with them all coming together, take my money now.
Game of Thrones style X-Men Disney Plus show.
And that's what. Do you see my thing? Like, I think you need the comic book and the television, like you said, to bring in, introduce new characters. Because a WandaVision movie would not make me want to take my wallet out and buy it. But now that I've seen the TV series, I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen.
One thing they could do as well, though, which they kind of did do, was you can introduce somebody in the movie first, and then use the show to build a backstory later. If there's a way to tie them into the story overall, or if there's a lot of public, perception where they want to see more of that character. Which is kind of what they did with Wanda. She, like you said, she had like 12 minutes of story time. Yeah, like that's like
you had no connection because your main focus was the Avengers. Your main focus was the big hub. Like that's what you cared for. And we all like different characters. Like you're a Daredevil guy, which I don't understand, but it is. I'm a Falcon Venom guy. Don't even start. So we all have different feelings about these characters, but I will sit here and tell you right now that the appreciation for some characters would never be known if it wasn't for television. Every folk can go home basically and put on TV and watch it, but a lot of people don't really go to movie theaters, especially with this pandemic now. They're not going to do that.
Here's my caveat for TV: they got to have the budgets to actually do it right.
True.
Not every studio has Disney money to spend $20 million per episode like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I know where you're going.
I don't know how much it was for Loki, but Falcon and Winter Soldier was $20 million per episode. That beats out Game of Thrones.
Jeez.
With flying colors. Man.
What's Titan's budget?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed. I shouldn't have laughed.
Folks, he's kind of a jerk on the low.
No.
He does not like DC Comics at all.
No. Don't even say that. I'm a fan of comics.
He does not like.
But for some reason, DC shows, their costume looks like cosplays, man. Like, they're just bad, man. And Titans is the worst offender of all. Like, they put no money into that show, man. Like, they had a whole bunch of...
Yo, look it up. I'm curious. I don't have my...
Never put a costume on. Come on, man.
All right, so I'm going to go to the next part of this right now. I have to ask this question. It's a little off subject. How...
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. okay, yeah. Yeah, it's better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay.
It's better than Luke Cage also.
Stop.
But anyway,
Stop.
My question for you guys is, there is a copycat league with sports, we love sports too. Like NFL, Bill Belichick's the one way. They try to copy it. They always try to do things. Baseball, basketball. They always make super teams. They want to do something that know that if I am doing this and I am falling behind, let me hop on the bandwagon so I can project and actually like advance up there, right? So I ask this question. I went to church, so I gotta make sure I say it the right way. What is the problem with DC Comics and Warner Brother production that they have had over, we'll say, almost 10 years worth of MCU material
Let me put my drink down.
that they cannot seem to put on the movie, put on an interview, put one and one together, and follow the road path? They don't get it. Why?
Do you
I
wanna
think-
touch this?
Yeah, I need to hear this. I need some passion behind this one.
I think Warner Brothers and their execs are standard execs that you would get.
Associated with
That was my answer.
with a studio, and they only look at making the most money for the least investment, and that's what they try to do, which is not something that you can do with comic book fans. It's kind of even though it's really blossoming at the moment, it's kind of a niche market.
Yeah.
Like, people are coming to see it because they love the comics, and if you change it so much from the comics that it doesn't make any sense to the comics, the core audience who's coming to see that movie is not going to like it.
So you
Which
don't.
is why you get tanking numbers for BBS and stuff like that.
Let's
You cut so many corners and you try to do things that don't make sense to what
Okay.
the movie wants.
So are you-
Then you let a negative perception build in the media as people continue to talk about all the stories and.
So how did you feel about Titans? We talked about that. How do you feel about Doom Patrol? Like, do you feel that those are TV shows that have potential? Do you feel like they are nowhere near?
Patrol
I've
Oh.
never watched Doom Patrol.
because it looks like it had a $10 budget. But anyway,
It did look. It looked like it had a $7 budget.
Warner Brothers, this is my point. This is my point. No one watches the material.
I will say-
I did watch it. It's not that
I
bad.
watched Titans.
Okay.
I like.
I
Titans.
watched Titans.
You like Titans?
I like Titans, and I'm looking forward to season 3.
And why don't you like Titans? Because you don't.
You know,
Then
the
the-
problem is I do like Titans for what they're trying to do, but it seems like the studio is not letting them do what they want to do. Like, Titans has so much potential to be good, but you can tell when they was like, you know what, we spent all the money on episode 3, we got to pull it back on 4 and 5. Like, you can kind of tell.
And that's what you're thinking about the executives, how they are basically micromanaging everything,
Right.
and they have to like, well, if you do this, I want this.
That's the problem.
Right.
See,
And that's the problem. You gotta let the creators create.
exactly.
Okay.
First of all, the execs are not creators. Look at the difference between, I hate doing this, but look at the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel, their creators are not only creators, but they're fans. So many directors will tell you, oh, if you walk into Marvel and you're not a fan, you're not getting the job. If you're not a comic book head, you're not getting the job. So you have Marvel, who not only have
And why
executives...
should you?
Exactly. Exactly. You have Marvel, whose execs are also fans and comic book heads, getting these jobs. And then on top of that, they're planning stuff out 5 years in advance. Like, Marvel was working on WandaVision. One of the artists, concept artists, was working on 5 years ago. So you got them working on this stuff, planning shots out. And we're not even going to see this stuff until 5 years later.
And-
So they already have a plan.
And one other thing, Marvel execs, they get out the way. I say, Kevin Feige, you know what you're doing. Do what you're gonna do. We're gonna step back, let you make a quality product, because a quality product's always gonna sell. Especially when you got the type of advertising money that Disney has.
And then you get Warner Brothers, who's like, oh, we're going to hire you, James Gunn, to do Suicide Squad, but you have to put Harley Quinn in there. I just saw that article that they said he had to put her in there. So that's the problem. They're doing reactionary filmmaking. They don't have any plans.
Okay.
Oh,
They just
Avengers
get-
made $1 billion. Let's hurry up and slap a Justice League together without building 18 movies of stories so that people actually give a crap.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. And the
So-
problem is, what makes it worse is DC has made great television and great movies in the DCAU, the animated universe.
Oh, yeah, anime series.
Come
that's
on, bro.
Top
Their
notch.
animated universe is
Top
better than
notch.
most
Films.
Most universes, period.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's top notch.
I'm rewatching all their animated stuff right now on HBO Max.
Batman's
It's
literally.
amazing. Young
like-
Justice. What?
You watch Apocalypse War?
Yes.
I feel like that's what Zack Snyder was
Amazing.
trying to build towards.
Yes.
Which and Apocalypse War is phenomenal, and it's got to be the WB execs, man. They just won't let them.
They won't let them do it.
make
Alright,
the type of movies.
so
Batman vs Superman, I heard, was trash because the studio had so much interference.
Yep.
okay,
Same thing
so
with
Do it this way. We don't want you doing this, and this is going to cost too much.
Yeah.
so here's my thing. The reason I asked this question, I'm a huge Dwayne Johnson fan. Y'all know that. The Rock is my guy.
I saw a new article about him.
So my question.
Joss Whedon Justice League.
So here's my whole thing with that about, you said the executives. It sounds like they have a power. They can do what they want. And you're saying that they don't have the budget. Then you insert Dwayne
They don't have
Johnson.
the budget because the execs.
No, exactly. No, I got it. So you insert Dwayne Johnson, who I'm not sure the numbers, but he's probably top 2 grossing or getting paid actor right now.
Probably number 1.
Probably number 1, but I don't know the numbers, all that. He's not going to really put up or tolerate the stuff that Warner Brothers have been doing. So when we see, I think he's wrapped up the film of Black Adam. Are we looking forward to that project, or are we just saying it's a DC project? I don't care.
If I'm being honest,
Yes.
I mean, I'll probably see it. I don't know if I'll go see it in theaters.
That's so true. That's my answer.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's The Rock. I'll check it out, but
Is that because of the history, or because you just like know much with the character?
Put it
Like,
this way,
at
I will
this
watch
point-
a DC animated movie in theaters before I watch a DC
fact.
live action.
Oh my
movie in
gosh.
theaters.
Bro, I'm at a point with the DC universe, like, whatever plan they had to do outside of what Zack Snyder's plan was that they wanted
Yeah.
to do,
I don't care.
I don't care at this point. Like, I do not, I don't
what?
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care about
They
that.
have scarred you guys
Let me
that
watch-
much.
Let me watch Robert Pattinson's Batman that has nothing to do with anything that y'all are doing. I'll
Right.
watch that.
These
And,
are
and that,
different
and that,
movies.
honestly, that's probably going to be the best thing that they put out in the next few years. Outside of their
Okay,
The fact that
so
the studio is giving them
oh my goodness.
saying that they don't like the movie that's putting out. I'm like, that means it's probably
that
good.
means it's probably good.
Yes.
Because
That's
y'all
where I'm
don't
at
like
with
good
DC.
stuff.
The studio doesn't like it. It's probably going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, because y'all don't like good stuff. Clearly.
Because the stuff
Okay.
that they loved and they pushed, Suicide Squad, the second one, I was like, bro, I need
It
to
was
see it.
bad. It was real
I
bad.
haven't seen it. I'm glad that
It was
not.
real bad. Okay, so now let's segue to this whole thing. I'm hoping The Rock came in there with his team and his production team and shut all that stuff down, and they did it his way. And I'm looking forward to it being that way. I hope so. I hope it's a trilogy. I hope that it ends with Man of Steel, Superman versus the Black Adam, because Man of Steel was actually a decent film.
It was. Underrated.
Next segue to the whole thing about just overall DC just putting out blah and blah and blah would be, do you honestly believe that it's possible for them to have a rebirth and actually expand in the Earth 1 and Earth 2 and how the comic books are? Like, there is a Black Superman in Earth 2. There are other variants in DC comic universe. Do you think if they did that it would spice up the DC universe, or it'd be like you are copying Marvel now?
Let me say something. I think it's possible for them to turn their cinematic universe around.
Okay.
Do I think it's plausible? No. So
Just tell the company and move on. That's
what
how
I
you
think
feel
they
it.
need to do is to fire all their execs.
Okay.
Hire somebody that actually
Which they won't
cares
do.
about the comics that they're going to be producing. Bro, they could literally just take some of their animated movies,
And it's
shoot them live action frame by frame, and put it in theaters. And would make more money than they're making off the movies that they're trying to do, whatever they're trying to do right now.
Thank you. And what makes it worse is that these people who did the animated stuff, the shows and the movies,
they're working
they're
there.
still working there.
They're working.
Bro,
Go across the hall and talk to
they're
them.
still building, bro.
Hire them, bro. What are you doing?
We talked about this. Like, it's like the cubicle complex, where they only work in their cubicle. They don't knock on the door next
They
to
put
them.
out a live action long Halloween, pre-ordering tickets. They put out live action Apocalypse War, pre-ordering tickets. But they're too stupid.
Apocalypse War was amazing.
If they did it frame by frame like the anime movies, but they're too stupid to just do the film. They want to take all these. They just want to take so much away from it. Oh, let's change this.
Mhm.
Let's just put in this random character who doesn't exist in the comics at all, just because we want this actress with blonde hair in the movie.
Mortal
Like, stupid
Kombat.
stuff.
Mortal Kombat. Just
Yeah.
well, who's production? Was that Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers.
No figures, Warner Brothers. Okay, so it's man.
Exactly.
Warner Brothers.
I want to have faith. I grew up as a DC comic head.
Let's just say though, Warner Brothers
just-
does make some good movies. The Matrix trilogy, come on.
But those are movies that don't have a cult, like I'm not saying cult, but a fan base like
Original IP, what you're saying?
yeah, like there's a fan base of comics. Like we take that thing real. It's personal.
We gotta show them our dollars, yeah. Buy the animated movies, just
Facts.
the live action ones that look like they're gonna be trash, just don't go see them. When the studio says they don't like the film, okay, that sounds like it's gonna be good. I'm gonna be in there day one.
That's why I don't watch the shows, because
Which case in point, like Prince, Cardell's little brother, shout out to Prince, called us before the podcast and said that he was looking for A Long Halloween by Batman, and he went on the HBO site where they have DC material, but could not find it, and then he found it on Amazon Prime, and he was confused on how a new animation film from DC is not on the app of DC, and I had no answer for him.
I don't have an answer either.
Yeah, that's just pathetic. That's pretty bad.
That's WB.
Yeah.
the only thing I could think of is that the exec, they want to get as much money from that movie as they can, and Amazon has a bigger platform than HBO Max. HBO Max.
No,
though-
I'm shutting that down right now. I'm shutting that right now.
Let me finish.
Space Jam was
Let me
just
finish.
released, and you
Let
see
me
Space
finish.
Jam's numbers.
Let me
Space
finish.
Jam was released on HBO.
Let me finish, bro. HBO Max is the baby right now. Even though it's my favorite app of 2020 and most of 2021, it has a smaller base than compared to Amazon. They might have had a licensing deal with Amazon to drop that to get more eyes on it and then drop it on HBO Max to get it. And to be fair, HBO Max, I heard, dropped Space Jam, the Legacy movie, and there was a skip ad on there the whole time because it was so bad. So I don't know. Maybe that was a rumor.
It wasn't. First of all, anybody thinks Space Jam was mad? It was a bad movie. It's two people. People who hate LeBron James. If he was feeding kids, they would probably still hate it. And people who think the movie is for you, who are you're 30 or 40. No one cares. That movie was made for kids that love Fortnite, who love the technology world and how it is for the future. That's what that movie was, and they did a pretty darn good job at doing that for little kids. But back on your whole number about the app stuff, HBO Max dropped that movie, and the numbers are phenomenal. They're phenomenal for Space Jam. You're telling me that I want to watch a DC animation film?
Why not?
I have to go to over where it has
I'm gonna say one other thing that doesn't.
Amazon Prime?
I'm gonna say one other thing that doesn't make sense for them putting it on Amazon Prime.
What's that?
They put Snyder Cut on HBO Max, and it did crazy
It-
streaming numbers.
So back to what I'm saying is we talk about it. It makes no sense. Like it makes no
We
sense.
got to remember, though, HBO Max, the executives at HBO Max are different from the executives at Warner Brothers. For example, HBO Max executive wanted Snyder to continue his universe, but Warner Brothers said no.
Yeah. But again, Warner Brothers digging their own hole.
I think I just made him mad because he didn't know that. But
at the end of the
there,
day-
there are different
End of the
executives.
day,
They're separate.
we have to let that branch, the DC cinematic universe branch of Warner Brothers, we gotta let it die.
Okay.
We have to stop going to see those movies.
That's the only way they
I
can
gotta
come
say,
back
that's
from
a
it.
bad-
Because listen, they're only looking at the bottom line. As long as they're making money, they're gonna keep doing
Okay,
what they think.
I'm going to say this right now. I took my hat off because
They're gonna make money,
it's
man.
making me
They need to get
mad.
rid of it. Why are you doing a universe level movie with the Flash when you don't even have a base universe like
Okay.
Marvel? You're jumping the gun. So
Yeah.
how about in that movie, instead of branching off into a multiverse, the universe dies and then they come out with
How
new
about
movies?
when that
are
movie
kind
comes
of-
out, none of us go see it, so we don't even know what happens.
I'm with him on that.
Okay, I'm gonna say this right here because I'm a little. I got a little hot right now. A little hot right now.
Long Halloween comes out in theaters. I'll pay money to see that in theaters. But
This is more not really to y'all two. This is in general my opinion about DC Comics and why I'm so passionate about it and why it irks my soul. Okay, DC Comics has some of the best comic books ever, from opening to completion.
no argument there.
Blackest Night, I can argue, is the greatest comic book of all time. I can argue that. It's one of the greatest comic books of all time. It involved everyone from DC. That book has been out for at least 12, 13 years. At least. Open a darn book, DC. Open a book, Warner Brothers, and look at it and see how it goes. It involves the Green Lantern, of course. Go look at it. Go support it. Go buy it. That book is phenomenal, and it can actually change everything in DC.
Dar'Ron, you keep making my point over. And
It irks me, bro. It irks me.
Dar'Ron, they made a Green Lantern movie.
I don't reference that. No, that didn't happen. That's the alternate universe. That didn't happen. I'm not even talking about.
That's what happens when Warner Brothers does what they want to do. I've never seen it either.
It's.
And I'm not going to. But
Yes, I've seen. Well, you know I've seen it.
You're a fan of Green Lantern.
You know I've seen it. Like at my wedding was Green Lantern. Like, you know I had it.
Because you're a fan of Green Lantern, you shouldn't have watched it.
yeah. I love myself too much to do that to myself.
Nah, bro.
The worst part about it is that this podcast might be DC versus Marvel and how bad DC is.
I know. We were
Okay. DC has just overall dumb decision makers. They are the guy that you like literally invest in something that has no potential, and their pathway and their this overall thinking is just corrupted and stupid. I watched Green Lantern the movie because I was excited because of who they cast and the potential.
That was a reason to not be excited.
And then because of how Jordan and how he is in some of the books, his personality, his charisma, it actually could have portrayed and actually went well. Now, in hindsight, and now that even Deadpool reference, I think he was actually on the hospital bed, he said, make me a costume. No CGI.
When he goes back
So
in time.
Yeah, and kills
Ryan Reynolds.
yes, it just like DC, that just tells you how bad things are.
Warner Brothers sent out a statement after that movie came out.
It makes me so mad. It makes think about the overall view of how you be and how boss it is for Marvel. Like, yo, let's drop this right here. They can't do nothing about it. That's how bad it is. On top of that, we remember it as comic book fans. You made fun of an actual DC.
And we talked about this, me and you. Like, we thought the DCEU should have started out in space with the Green Lantern Corps,
yes,
and then came to Earth.
Yes, because you cannot copy Marvel.
Instead, they're going to
can't.
A show with 2 Green Lanterns that they made up.
They didn't make it up. They're
from the comics.
It's actually from the comics.
Whatever.
But no one knows about
the show's
them.
going to be trash. No one knows about
It's not going to be.
Every comic book DC fan that I've talked to, they're like, why aren't they using Jon Stewart? Why aren't they?
You're trying to give me high blood pressure today.
I'm talking about females, men, black, white, Asian, whatever. They're all like, yo, what's up with Jon Stewart?
Why they're not using Jon Stewart.
Why?
You know why they're not using Jon Stewart.
And
Tell us.
Need I remind you, I'm going to make you mad more, but Zack Snyder did film Wayne T. Carr as Jon Stewart, Green Lantern.
He did.
Warner Brothers cut him out.
They did.
Warner Brothers cut him.
Okay.
So,
as well as 90% of Cyborg scene.
No, I'm talking about even for the Snyder cut.
So you are.
Couldn't use it. It's crazy.
You're pretty much explaining why they won't do it. Shout out to Blue Hen Comics. We had a conversation one day there, and we talked about why I didn't want to go this route, but we're going to go this route. Why certain comic book characters had certain abilities, repetitive abilities, and no matter what it is, and how certain MCU versus DC, one was promoting a certain walk of life, and the other was not. And it's very obvious that the other executives don't care to expand, don't care to just realize, hey, it's not the old way anymore. It's okay. It's okay to put someone that of color as a lead.
They killed Milestone Comics.
Yeah, which is coming back and come back with vengeance.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah, with vengeance. They won't do it. If this was a displaying why Marvel is just more superior, they would have already put out a Jon Stewart. They would already put out a Cyborg television show. They've already put these things out because it is captivating. A lot of your buyers are of that heritage, and they would actually increase the value of the company and the characters, and their dollars matter. they don't see us as value sometimes, and it's very obvious when I found out that they cut Green Lantern. I thought it was an idea, but actually seeing the actual image
shot it.
and actually seeing the shot and actually that you had that and you decided to replace that with the alien of Martian the Manhunter, which him even
Literally sat back and watched everything.
which makes no sense. If you know Martian the Manhunter, why would you sit back? That makes no sense. But
He's a
that's
fighter pilot, man.
yeah, really great, fantastic.
Do you want me to get you more mad?
Go ahead, man.
I got
Just
some information for you. So you was just talking about how they were cutting out characters.
mm-hmm.
Someone pointed out online how, because HBO just announced their movie slate and then their TV slate.
Okay.
It was like, we're giving you Static Shock, we're giving you Batwoman, we're giving you, what is it, Simon Baz Green Lantern?
Yeah. So he actually looks. He's one of the coolest
And then
costumes you'll
somebody
see.
was like, so you're putting all the white male characters in the movies, but on the HBO Max TV shows. All the
Stop it! Stop it!
I didn't. Hey, somebody said it online. Internet. Who was it? Somebody said it online. It said, so you're putting all the diversity, Batwoman, Static Shock.
I feel like I can't think of. I feel like it's like a
just put them
testing.
on the app.
I feel like it's controlled testing. I really do.
Come on, we know it is.
It just
We know it is. Come on.
so bad.
Come on, man.
So bad. It's very
We
distasteful.
keep having the same conversation over and over.
Distasteful, man. This so
If you wanna keep
distasteful.
supporting that garbage. You know what I mean? You do it.
It makes me mad because of the potential.
I'm just gonna
It
watch
does.
animated films and let the film universe die until they fire their execs and get somebody in there that knows their.
Dwayne Johnson, I know you don't know who we are, but I really hope that you just brought a whole new.
I like that he's coming in
Atmosphere.
there and making demands.
I really do.
I saw
Hawk,
he wants to get rid of
Hawkman is
Joss
going to be
Whedon's
who?
Justice League, because Warner Brothers said Justice League. When it comes to Justice League, Joss Whedon's version is canon,
Yes.
and he said Dwayne Johnson was like, "No, I want to get rid of that."
Thank you. And I hope, like, literally, like, Egyptian background Hawkman is actually going to be Hawkman. I'm excited for that. I am. Will you go to see the movie if I pay for your ticket?
I mean, free is free. I mean,
Free.
No, I thought he'd be like, nah, bro, it's not coming. It's not going to
I
happen.
mean, like I said, I'll go see it.
He's gonna show up with a Marvel
might-
shirt on. That's what he's gonna do.
Yo,
He's
this,
gonna-
the disrespect. The
I'll throw
disrespect.
the Black Panther shirt on. Oh God.
He's gonna be like, he's gonna show up with a shirt that says Marvel all day.
All right, so based in conclusion, we are just dumped a fire on how bad DC is versus Marvel. And
To
how
be
they're...
clear, DC movies,
DC movies. They're
DC
animated.
live action movies.
Live action.
Their animated universe is
It's
phenomenal.
A1.
I grew up on DC shows, cartoons.
Marvel
like,
really can't mess with their animated.
Nah, can't.
And you know what's
Marvel
crazy?
Animated shows.
I have, and it's made more for the Disney children. I think that's what it's made for in their market. And actually,
to a question. Since What If is essentially animated,
I'm
what do y'all
checking
think that's gonna be like?
I think it's
I
gonna
think
be,
it's gonna be dope as
it's
hell.
gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be dope.
I think it's gonna be really, really exciting because there's gonna be a
I
lot
wanna
of.
see what Killmonger's doing with Iron Man,
That would be interesting. And then they had T'Challa as
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord.
But there was also, if you saw that shot where they showed him and the other team, there was a Black Panther right next to him. So I'm like, who's in that Black Panther suit? Go back and watch it.
What, when they showed the other Avengers team?
Remember?
I want to say that was Killmonger.
You want to say that's Killmonger?
Because I thought I saw gold.
So do you think Killmonger still gets the suit even though he shows up with Iron Man? I would think he would get like an Iron Man, like Black Panther suit, like an Iron Panther suit or something.
Warner Brothers, do you see what we're talking about? We just switched the subject and the entire temperature of the room just changed. It went from being a volcano pit to being like, yo, we on the beach chilling right now. That's how many excitement, like, come on, man. Get it
I'm
together.
excited, man.
Get it together.
T'Challa Star-Lord next to a different Black Panther. I'm all in, man. I'm all in.
You can wrap this up, man. This is broke.
They said Tony Stark, Doctor Strange.
Like, do you think the what ifs are going to be real variants?
The thing?
That was something that they shot kind of like as an option in
Endgame.
Infinity War.
Infinity
Endgame.
War, yeah.
And then, but I heard that might.
They're
pop
bringing
up
it back?
in What If.
Hmm.
That would be dope.
So do y'all think that these, the what if is going to be a segue into the different variants? As in, like, it's actually going to be canon? Or do you think it's just by its own self, isolated?
By its own.
It could possibly be They could canonize it
They could.
if they're using like the Watcher or somebody
But-
that's kind of narrating it.
I mean, now after
Events.
Loki, there's a whole multiverse. I think they're going to have to be careful because they're going to have to pick and choose all these different versions of characters.
Mhm.
They don't want to get it too crazy. So I feel like What If is just going to be by itself,
Okay.
just showing us, hey, what if this happened? What if Killmonger saved Tony Stark? What if T'Challa was the one who got caught up by the Ravengers? So,
What if Warner Brothers sold DC Comics to freaking Marvel at this point? I don't care.
I mean, I love
I
what Marvel's
don't care.
doing. I love what Marvel's doing.
Give it to anybody. Give it to Dark Horse Comics. Give it to anybody.
Disney already has Marvel and Star Wars. I don't want them to have everything.
Well, if not them, who?
Sony or Lionsgate.
I'm not so sold on Sony
Mm-hmm.
because I know their track record until they linked up with Marvel.
I mean, but yo, tell me those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies weren't jumping.
They were really good.
I'm not talking about the Amazing Spider-Man movies. We're gonna act like those didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sam Raimi
Well,
ones.
I'm very forgiving on those, but that's a whole nother convo. But the Sam Raimi ones were good. I just personally, I felt like Tom. What's the new one's name? Tom Holland. I
Holland.
feel like he's the best Spider-Man.
Yes.
Okay.
Tobey
I felt
Maguire
like-
was the best Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is the best. Period.
I would agree.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield was perfect as far as like the snarky, witty
Snarky
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
in costume, but he was too cool
To be
for
Peter
me
Parker.
to be Peter Parker.
Got you.
Toby
Maguire.
was, if I would say, a little too corny on it. In my opinion. And then
I could agree.
He didn't have the kind of
The edge to be.
the swagger that Spider-Man.
You gonna do a dance for me?
usually
You
has
gonna do the dance?
No, that was the worst thing in any film I
But you
think I've
know,
ever seen in my life.
well, I don't want to. There's a reason for that. But
I know, but it's just
That's a whole
it's
different
no
podcast.
subject.
That's a whole different.
It's
podcast.
terrible. The reason
yeah.
doesn't matter. It was terrible.
Ah.
But, yeah, it was.
Sam
it was
Raimi
good.
wasn't happy with the studio. That's
It was
why
good,
he
but,
did
you know,
stuff like
There were things I
Okay.
didn't like, especially that third one.
So how are you looking in? Okay, so you said Sony's track record. What about? So you're not looking forward to Venom 2 with Carnage?
I said Sony's track record.
I know,
Relinking.
I know, but are you? How is this playing your whole thing?
Am I looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Yes, because of the opportunity for it to play into the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay. Would you be okay? How do you feel about it being? They still have their own separate companies running it, and then it basically be a cameo, or would you rather them merge and Spider-Man be all MCU, and Tom Hardy, Venom, everybody be a part of that? Because you just said you don't want everything to be there. So how would you feel
I
about
don't
it?
want them necessarily merging all that Spider-Man stuff with the MCU either.
Okay.
Because the MCU is obviously looking at a lot more characters than just Spider-Man,
Mhm.
and bringing in so many of his characters in his rogues gallery would, I feel like, take too much attention away from other stuff they're trying to do.
Okay. What about you?
Same, but because of the multiverse, they could bring everything together. Spider-Man's villains that Sony has now, that's all Spider-Man property.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I mean, you're a fan of Venom, the movie.
Yes.
I'm not, but
I enjoyed the movie for what it was.
I mean, it was something to watch on a rainy day.
You know how you have friends in your life that you love and you
They
cherish,
weren't doing the original
and then there's
origin
you.
stories.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can.
So I'm going into it.
You can
But just
only
'cause
do
you're-
so
hold up,
much.
Hold up, just because you're not
No, I
doing
know,
a,
but
just because
I
you're
go in
not
that-
doing,
Huh?
Movie knowing that.
hold up.
Okay.
Just because you're not
And
doing
I
an
take it for
original
what it
origin
is.
story doesn't mean you put out a bad product.
You're a Daredevil fan. You've been Affleck was supposed to reside you. I want to hear nothing.
Hold
Go ahead.
I don't acknowledge that Ben Affleck played Daredevil. Okay, Charlie Cox is the only.
He's a
Daredevil.
poster you had inside your room. Go
I
ahead.
never had a poster of
I do
Daredevil.
too much. Now,
Go ahead.
Now we'll say the Charlie Cox one was great,
Amazing,
Okay.
amazing.
amazing.
I actually enjoyed the Venom movie.
Thank
I just
you.
didn't think it was great. I think it was.
It was a good movie.
I think it was bad.
But it
I
was
just
a
didn't think
bad
it was-
movie.
It wasn't
With what the road and pathway that they had to go without having the blocks of the obstacles of Disney and other Marvel, they did a good job.
all things considered.
They
it was
did a good job.
decent to good movie.
Let's move
It just
on.
wasn't
Did
Did a
great.
good job.
It was a longer
Because
podcast.
yeah, because you, my friend, like just go ahead. We don't talk about your little bum Ghost Rider, but go ahead.
Well, I don't even like. No.
Yes, films Ghost Rider, are they important?
Are they important?
Yes.
Honestly,
No.
they could tie him in.
The second one, they're all canon now.
The second one
was
what?
better than the first. Doesn't mean they were good movies, but you know.
The second Ghost Rider is better than the first.
Yes. Go back and watch them.
No, I'm just asking. I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
I don't know
I'm
which one
mad.
is which. They were both pretty bad, to be honest.
They were,
But
but the second one had Idris Elba, so he made it better.
Right, this shit, man.
I like this character. He was like this drunk monk that was just like walking around with this crazy accent. But yeah, you know, and there was a lot more action than the second one. A lot more action, and I feel like the second one just let Nick Cage be Nick Cage, so he was just crazy, acting like he was out of his mind. I was like, yeah, give me that.
All right, so last question, and I'm done with this. We talk about the past, the future. We talk about things going on. What are y'all? How do y'all feel about the Blade? How do y'all feel about what's going to happen? Do you feel like there's too much pressure? Do you feel, or this is like just a brand new, fresh air? It's all good.
Loki made
There's gonna be-
Vampire's canon already.
There's gonna be no.
Vampires canon.
There's gonna be no push like bring Wesley back. There's gonna be no push for that.
Opportunity to bring him in with Mobius.
I'm looking
They're gonna
forward
have-
to that.
They're gonna have multiple chances to bring him in, and with Marvel's track record, I'm confident that they'll do it nicely.
Okay.
Logistically, I'm curious on how long they're gonna keep Blade around because Mahershala Ali is not a young guy, and generally these movies track on. Like, I mean, Chris Evans was Captain America for 10 years. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson was Black Widow for 10 years. He's already what, in his late 40s?
No, I'm not sure.
48 or something like that. Is he going to be playing Blade as a 6-year-old, or they're going to kill him off?
How old is Denzel? They still got him doing Equalizer.
It's true. I think it's funny because in the second
You get a good-
Equalizer,
You get a good
a
stunt
lot-
man.
Shut
that
out.
that was a stunt man.
Queen Latifah for Equalizer TV show.
Yo, we're not going to discuss that. But yeah, my Nomads. My Nomads. That was another Bitcast.
Checkmate.
Thanks for joining us. Please be creative.
Oh man.
We're not going to discuss it.